If you're a regular listener or you've been here before, then perfect, because today I've got something a little bit different for you. And along with that, I'd also suggest sticking around until the end of the episode because I've got 2 tickets to something pretty special. And these might just be tickets to an event that you might really want to be at. So stick around to the end, and I'm actually just going to pause there before I divulge too much juicy goss and welcome you to our brand new show. What's up, my healthy friends? Oh my God, we've got a brand new show. We are now the Real Weight Loss Coach podcast. We've rebranded, and I'm happy you're here for it. And I want to tell you all about why this change has happened, what this change means, and of course, get to the whole 2-ticket thing, right? So what happened essentially was I've been doing the How to Not Get Sick and Die podcast for, well, not too far away from 7 years. And I've been incredibly consistent, and we've had such an incredible following. You know, we're very close to 1 million people that tune in to this show, which is just wild to think that number. Like, I can't even fathom like 10,000 people in one room, let alone 1 million people that have listened. Anyway, what I realized is when I started this journey of podcasting and trying to earn a living and feed the family now through this podcast, and then more importantly through the programs and services that I offer off the back end, is that I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about branding or marketing or any of that stuff in the beginning. And so I've essentially just been building and renovating with no skills and no awareness of how this world works. And so over that time, over that 6-7 years of this, and I attempted business several times before this journey as well, with all of that cumulative learnings and knowledge and coaches and consultants and friends that are on the journey as well, what I learned is that all of the front doors on the internet that you might find me behind, they were kind of all painted a different color. And that is really confusing because even my close friends, I discovered this not too long ago, but I have someone who's known me really well for a long time and been around for most of this journey and listens to the podcast and all of those kind of things. And when she communicated about what I do, she would often have to pause and try and figure out how to explain what we do here on the show and what we do as a group, as an organization, right? And that's a really big red flag for anybody that's trying to do anything. Even if you're in a job or you're in an organization, if you're trying to put forward ideas and people don't really get it, or if you have a role and people don't really understand how you contribute, that's a massive problem, right? And so I discovered this was happening all over the place. And many times I would get on discovery calls of people that were inquiring about our emotional binge and overeating programs. And they would say, I just love your podcast, but I don't really know what you do. And maybe you listening, we've had conversations like that before, either in the DMs on Instagram or Facebook or just through email or whatever, wherever it might be. This theme has been popping up for years now. And I admit my ego was too attached to a particular idea of how things needed to be. And so I was always really resistant to the word weight loss. I didn't want to use it. I thought that, no, the work that we do and that I do is so much deeper than the word weight loss. And so many people are triggered and pissed off with the weight loss industry and shakes and, Ozempic and personal trainers that just beat on their chest and just say, calorie deficit, bro, that's all that matters, And so for 7 years, people and coaches and friends have been telling me that I need to use the words weight loss in what I do more often because people will finally understand what I do. And so all of that led to the breakdown of my ego, finally, and plenty of time with friends and sitting on the couch with Yali, throwing around ideas. How can we brand this and how can we label this and how can we language this in a way that people understand and people are curious and people can relate to it. And so it was Yali's genius that popped the final idea of the Real Weight Loss Coach. And the idea of the word real is we do it the real way. We work on the real problem, which is very seldom calories or workouts. Right? There are so many more layers. That's why we work on emotional binge and overeating. Most of the women and men that I've worked with They already know heaps about health and nutrition and wellness. They listen to this podcast. They listen to heaps of others. They've tried 10 to 30 years of dieting from different experts and different philosophies. They know a ton of scientific facts, and they're still in a body that they're tremendously unhappy with and that is breaking down and becoming diseased, whether that be diabetes, dementia, Alzheimer's, right? Heart issues, atherosclerosis, cardiovascular disease, cancer, all of these kind of things. And the obvious one is being overweight and obese, which leads to all of the rest. So we finally landed on this idea of the real weight loss coach because I believe the work that we do, one, really matters, but two, we get to the real problem and we do the real work. And it doesn't look like telling you how many calories to eat and making sure that you've done your meal prep on Sunday. Meal prep on Sunday is a great idea, but if that was the solution, you wouldn't need this podcast. You would never have listened. You would have never needed to listen to any health advice because that would have solved the problem. So I really love that we've come to this word real, and I'm very much going to lean into using that word real because I believe I'm someone that delivers real talk. I believe that I'm someone that doesn't sugarcoat things. I believe I'm someone that gives you the truth about what's going on. I don't sell you these, 10 pounds in 10 days or 28-day challenges that guarantee huge, absurd, ridiculous results. And you might know this when people knock on our door on the internet, one of those doors, and people say, I've got a wedding in 6 weeks, or I want to be skinny for my 50th, or whatever they say. All of those people, we lovingly let go because that's not doing the real work and that's not going to fix things permanently. All it's going to do is put you on another yo-yo diet, another roller coaster of feeling hungry and pissed off and skinny, and then binge eating your feelings on the other side because finally the event's over and I can return to the person I was before, which incidentally was the person you also wanted to change. It's this vicious cycle. So we do the real stuff. And with the real stuff on the podcast the podcast content is going to stay the same because all the diseases we talk about are directly either created, manifested by, or impact disease statuses. So all the diseases, we're going to keep talking about them. Being overweight and obese is a factor in all health and wellness. So nothing about the podcast content, the guests, the messaging, the communication, the ideas, the philosophies, none of that is going to change. What is going to change is that at the very end of the podcast, you might be very familiar with the question that I have asked over 200 guests now, which is, what is one piece of health information you wish more people knew about? And a lot of people like that question, but now we're moving to a whole segment that only lasts like 3, 4, 5 minutes at the very end of the podcast. And this segment is literally called Real Talk. And what we do in the Real Talk segment with each guest, and this segment will start appearing on every episode soon. We've only just introduced it on the recording side, so we're sort of catching up. A few months of recording in advance has already been done, so it'll start appearing very soon. But the idea of this Real Talk segment is that we get a few minutes to get really deep and intimate with our guests in a way that you probably won't hear in any other podcast interview. We want them to share honestly and openly about a small handful of questions that will be interesting, controversial, funny, and hopefully inspiring as well. So I'm really excited for this Real Talk segment. And the idea is that it's short, sharp, snappy, but also we have guests that are on a podcast. So they don't, like me, they don't always do short, sharp, and snappy very well. But we're going to give it a go. So the Real Weight Loss Coach, this is who we are. This is what we're all about. Social media, everywhere, everything will be labeled the Real Weight Loss Coach or some iteration of the Real Weight Loss Coach, so that every door on the internet of which you can find me behind and my work and my programs and my team is colored the same color. There's no confusion. None of my friends or colleagues are going to be confused anymore when they try to communicate what I do, or they see somebody, or they meet somebody, or they know somebody that would really benefit from the work we do. There's going to be no confusion in them sharing what we do and the person listening understanding what we do. So the Real Weight Loss Coach is born. Welcome. And so as part of this launch, I'm super excited because we have a retreat which has been now rebranded itself as well to the Real Wellness Retreat. And that was previously a sold-out event and still remains a sold-out event. But as part of this launch, I am releasing, down in the show notes below, down in the caption, scroll down, find the link, press the button. I am inviting or opening this up to 2 more tickets to this sold out event. So if you're a listener of the show, if you missed out on tickets when they sold out, then now is your chance to get a ticket. So the Real Wellness Retreat, we're going to focus on detox, connection, relaxation, stress management, just really prioritizing you. And this is October 16th to 19th, 2025, for anybody who's listening to this in the future. There are 2 tickets right now. As of the second that you hear this, as of the moment that this is released, those tickets are available, and I expect them to disappear really rapidly. So the benefit of getting on this launch bonus or these tickets from the launch is that you're going to save yourself $600 on the ticket price, which is incredible. And also you're going to be part of just an incredible retreat. There's information about this on my Instagram. If you just go to my Instagram page, The Real Weight Loss Coach, and go to one of the highlights, you'll see some info about what to expect and some of the visuals of the location. And we've got a beautiful group of women that are coming. By the way, it's an all women event minus myself and my son, who will be there. Bless these little cotton socks. But yeah, so there's 2 tickets to the Real Wellness Retreat, and I would love you to be there, whoever you is and whoever snaps those up. There's payment plan options, so don't stress too much. If you're like, I really want to be there, but I want to break the payment up, totally fine as well. And if you are listening to this and those tickets are sold out, still go down to that link in the show notes or the caption or the email or wherever you find this episode and click that button, because in place of the ticket button that was there will be a registration form for the next retreat. So you can get on early, which means you will get a discount on the next retreat as well for being on the wait list. So I'm excited to just pack some more amazing humans into that retreat. I was buying stuff for the retreat today, and it's so exciting to actually be in person with people and feel the energy of being in one another's company and doing, work and hanging out and having deep conversations. And, the goal of going to retreats is to be able to leave transformed, leave changed, leave as somebody different, And so that is exactly the plan that we've got for everybody that's going to be on this retreat. So it's just going to be awesome. So 2 tickets to the Real Wellness Retreat. Scroll down, click the button, sign up, be a part of it, either the full ticket price, a bit of a discount, or the payment plan. I'm excited to have you there. All right. That's all the news for right now. So what I would love you to do, if you could, is actually share this episode, because we need the new logo, we need the new brand, we need the new cover art out to everybody that can possibly see it as fast as possible, so people start recognizing this podcast as the podcast that they know and love. Because as I said, the content that we're going to be delivering is still going to be the same. It's just that our front door has been painted a different color, right? So if you could please take a screenshot of this episode and share it into your social media, tag me at The Real Weight Loss Coach on Instagram, whether you share it on YouTube or whether you share it on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or anywhere. We need to let everybody that listens to this show know this is now the show that you know and love. And of course, we want to attract new people in that might want to learn about what it is we do and the way that we do it, which is doing the real work. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for being a loyal listener of the show over the years and getting us to this point. I feel really good about this transition and this transformation. And I feel like there's much greater capacity for us to hit our goal now of reaching 1 million people to be able to help and support on their real weight loss journey. So thanks, and I'll see you on the next episode.